Okay, so now we're going to do is a frame of reference using guidelines, and it's important to actually do it this way because you're going to wind up using guidelines quite often in Corel. So you might as well get used to it, even though you may know shortcuts. Once you understand guidelines, things you can do a lot more. So what I'm going to wind up doing, I just move this off to the side right now. There's my ruler, and right now the ruler says there's my 0, and here's my 0. So in CorelDRAW, our 0, 0 coordinates is actually the bottom left corner. Now we can change all that by clicking and dragging this little spot over here, and I could, if I wanted to say, well, I want my 0, 0 to be the top. But by default, we'll just stay down here. And this is just basically your X and Y axis. So what I'm going to do is, there's my ruler. I'm going to click on it and drag down this line. And then I'm going to do is double click on it. So that's my guideline. I'm going to double click on my guideline, and it's actually saying, okay, your line that we dragged down is actually at 5.6945, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? I want my frame of reference to be a half inch away from my page that I made. So, well, no big deal. Just type in 0.5. So I want to move this over here. I want to move this guideline, so I'm just going to click on move. And if you notice it, it's at half an inch at the bottom of the page. Okay, I'm on a horizontal. Now I want it on the top of the page. The page is 6 inches, so I want to add 5.5. I'd like to add another guideline. I don't want to click on move because it'll move the first one. We don't have another guideline here. All we have to do is add. So there's this guideline. Vertical. Well, where do you want to put your first guideline? Well, I'd like to stick it or place it point or half inch. So there's my 0.5, and we will add it because there wasn't any in a vertical. And the next one, 5.5, we'll just click on add. And once we're done, we click OK. So there's our guideline. I like the guideline method at the very beginning. You notice that when I was moving my object around and when I actually had my shape, it was in front of my frame of reference. If I drag this is my so-called frame of reference. I was sticking it up for you. It is now in front of that shape. How do I know? If I click right there, it's in front. So we would actually have to move these shapes forward and back, and that's where the problem starts to begin. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to click on this object. So if I'm clicking right here, I must be selecting the object. No, we're actually selecting this frame of reference. So that's why it's easier just to have the guideline set up. So I'm going to now select my object, hit the letter P. This is just what we did before, and I'll just scale this down because I can just place it inside here. Now I'll go to my rectangle tool, and what I can do is just go click and drag, cover my guidelines, and we can now select a thickness for our frame of reference. I'm going to hit F9, and there is our artwork with the frame of reference around. Now we're looking at our positive negative space, and this particular shape takes on a whole new meaning as we rotate it around and create the different objects and shapes. So that is our design rotation. So the next thing that we're going to wind up doing is getting this ready for print. And how are we going to set this up to print? Because remember, this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. We're just saying please print 6 by 6. So how do we do that in order to cut this out 6 inches by 6 inches? So that's what we'll be looking at next.